Installing sass is simple, but it does involve using the command line on your computer. I know that this is where some of you may want to get off the bus because the command line scares you, but I'd encourage you not to worry about it and just follow the steps that I present. There's a lot of power to be gained in understanding how to use the command line, and you really won't have to spend a lot of time there to use sass, but it helps if you understand what it is and how it works. Now, there are a lot of tools out there that would allow you to avoid the command line, especially if you're on a Mac. But I am going to focus on using it because I think it's valuable to get over any fear or dread you might have of using it. This is going to be the most complicated step in the entire class. Once we get past this step, the rest of it is going to be easy. And we only have to do this one time. So the first step is to install Ruby. And I want to make clear to you that you do not need to have Ruby on your web server. You just need to have it installed on the computers where you are going to be doing development. So if you have a desktop and a laptop where you do work, you will need to do these steps on both computers, but it does not need to be on your web server. That was one thing I was concerned about when I first started using sass, and it turns out it wasn't anything that I needed to worry about. The Ruby programs will convert your sass files into CSS files, and that is what is going to go on your web server. So if you're on a Mac, you don't need to do anything. You already have Ruby installed with your operating system. If you're on Windows, you need to go to rubyinstaller.org/downloads and download the most recent version of the installer and follow the steps. I will demonstrate that process in a moment. And then if you have Linux, you just need to install the Ruby package. So I'm at the website and I'm going to choose the first download link because that is the most recent version. There's other things that you can install there, but it's just the main installer, the one at the top that you want. After it's downloaded, you can click on the download file to go ahead and install it. And the only thing you can accept the default, you need to accept the license, but the only thing you really need to pay attention to here is you do want to check that add Ruby executables to your path. Now I'm turning it off for myself because I don't need it, but you probably will want to have it turned on. What that does is let the command line always know where your Ruby is. If you have any trouble though, please post a question in the question and answer section and I will try to help you. The next step is to open the command line. So if you're on a Mac, you need to find the terminal program. And if you're not sure where that is, you can type it into the spotlight and it should find it for you. You might want to dock it so that you have access to it always. If you're on Windows, you're going to find the command program, or CMD. And if you're on Linux, you're probably already at the command line and you don't need help with this. I'll demonstrate on a Windows machine how to get there. I'm going to the Start button and I'm just going to type CMD. I can find it that way, or I can also go to All Programs and find the folder where Ruby was installed, and I can use the Start command prompt with Ruby. The next step is to install sass, and we install sass using the Ruby gems. Ruby gems is a package manager for Ruby extensions, and sass is a Ruby extension. It was written in Ruby. This is a way that you can install programs and extensions using the command line instead of having to go to the website, download the files, extract them, and install them. So it's much quicker if you get used to installing things this way. So it's a nice little feature of Ruby. And the command is very simple and it's the same on all operating systems. It's just gem install sass. So it might take a minute or so to install, but it's usually pretty quick. And now it's installed. The final step is not really a step that needs to be done. It's completely optional, but one thing I like to do after I install something is just check the version and make sure that everything installed okay. So you just type Ruby-V for checking the Ruby version and sass-V for checking the Sass version. You can also type -H to get a listing of all the Sass commands. So Sass is installed now and we're ready to go. I would probably leave the command line open because you are going to need it to compile your Sass files. But in the next movie, we'll look at the project that we're going to work on in this class.